Hey guys, welcome to my Chinese takeaway cook along. It's a special day today actually, so before we get started, can we all say happy birthday to my little brother who's 46 years old today, bless him. He's been out with his agent for dinner. Unfortunately, he couldn't come back to Leicester to see us. It's just one of those things, but he's working. Hope you've had a great day, babe. Babe is the baby of the family. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you hopefully in a week or two. So cool. Also as well guys, if you have been following my Chinese takeaway cook-alongs, I've just started to upload the videos, the recipes and the methods all onto my website. So if you head over to gotlingwan.com and click on the Chinese takeaway cook-along, there's a whole page there now with, like I say, all the recipes and the videos to follow as well for everything that we've done during lockdown and to where we are now. Tonight we're cooking my tofu and black bean. I'm going to run through the ingredients today, just because it's such an easy dish, and if I start cooking now we're going to be done in 10 minutes, alright. So firstly, the star ingredient, which is tofu. Now this is a piece of, let me just get rid of this for a second. This is a piece of, well, fresh tofu it was. It's called tofu, it's T-O-F-O-O I think it is when you buy it in the local supermarkets. This is the firm variety, and to make it firmer, what I've done, I've popped it into the freezer, okay, and then 2 days ago I got it out and put it into the fridge, and this morning I've squeezed out all of the water, and you can see it's pretty rock hard, okay. Now, normally when you do this dish, you can either have it as firm tofu or a fried tofu. Today we're just going to have it like this, so we will fry it off a little bit, but whereas, you know, when we fry off the tofu, especially in cornflour, it creates like a crispy coating. I'm not doing that tonight, we're just going to have this like it is, okay. On this plate I have a couple of onions, and we have some peppers. Okay, so that's just standard green pepper, red pepper. Traditionally in the restaurant it was always served with green peppers. But you can see how small my green pepper is, so I've got half a red pepper to go with this as well. Some leftovers of my homegrown carrots, so carrots are in this dish. We have good thumb piece size of ginger, which I've just peeled. 2 garlic cloves, now you can put in as much garlic as you like. I'm going to leave this quite chunky so I can pick it out. You know, if you like strong garlic, chop it down nice and fine, and it'll be, you know, and it will sort of like go right throughout the dish. And today we've also got some of my homegrown chilies. Now they are, you know, the weather's not been fantastic, so they've not grown massive, but I tried a bit earlier and I must have had lip sting for a good 20 minutes afterwards. So I've got 5 little bullet chilies, or, you know, they're bloody hot anyway. So that's my fresh ingredients. In my beautiful willow pattern mug that I picked up from a car boot sale. Oh, actually, I think it's from an old antique shop. I love this jug, it's great. There's just some stock in here. We have some white pepper, some sugar, some salt, which I may or may not use. I say this every week, guys. Taste your dish at the very end. If you need to season, we'll add extra seasoning. Sesame oil to finish the dish. Some dark soy sauce for a little bit of colour and umami. Some light soy sauce. The second star ingredient are my fermented black beans. Now these are preserved, dried black beans with a little bit of ginger. All I've done, I've taken 2-3 tablespoons earlier today. I've rinsed it under warm water, and then I've just covered with water. So I don't know if you can just see in the bowl there, there's a little bit of water, but they've been sort of like marinating or soaking for a good hour, hour and a half even. Okay, so they're my black beans. And finally, I have some cornflour and water. Okay, this is just to make a slurry. And the one thing I have forgot is my oil for frying. So, very first thing guys, we're gonna prep our raw ingredients. So, I'm gonna take my onion. Now it's really important that when we're cooking Chinese food that we chop the ingredients all about the same size. The Chinese believe that it's quite uncivil to have to use a knife and fork at a table, hence why all the pieces are chopped into bite-sized pieces. Again, it's just an old traditional thing. You should be able to sit there, take it with a pair of chopsticks and not have to manhandle it, okay? So we're going to chop these into bite-sized pieces, but roughly the same size. So my onion, just into a couple of centimetre squares, I guess. Just take your time when you're using sharp knives, guys, but the sharper the knife, the better. The last thing you want is a blunt knife and you end up slipping off it. So nice and sharp, just tuck your fingers away and you use your knuckles as a guide. So there's my onion. So I'm going to want my peppers about the same size. So I just chop these in half to give me a rough same size. Now, I'm led to believe that peppers all start off the same colour, and the longer they're on the vine is why we get different colours. Whether or not that's right or wrong, I don't know, but that's what I'm telling you tonight. Now, the garlic, I said this earlier, if you like a strong aromatic garlic flavour through your dish, and make sure you chop it nice and fine. The finer it is, what it's going to do, it's going to work its way right throughout that dish. Personally, I like it not so strong these days. Now, I still like garlic, but it's got a tendency to repeat on me. I don't know if it's an age thing or not. So I'm just going to chop that into that size piece, okay? So there's my garlic. My ginger, I'm just going to chop into slices. So you can just see that I've got that kind of slices for ginger. Same thing again. If you like a really strong flavour of ginger through the dish, chop it up a bit finer, and then obviously you'll eat it as you're eating the food. Pieces like this, you'll be able to pick out as you're eating it, but you'll still get that background heat and ginger flavour. Carrots. Now, these are all odd shapes, so I'm just cutting them into, I suppose, little mini goldfish shapes, okay? So I'll just do these quickly. So there's my carrots, nearly done. And again, if you like your veggies that little bit softer, obviously cook longer or chop them smaller and they'll cook quicker then. And my last carrot, let's move to one side for a second. Now the tofu, I'm going to serve this as just small, like 1 centimetre by 2 centimetre sizes. Again, if you like your tofu crispier, what you can do is chop it just as I'm doing now, coat it in a little bit of corn flour, you don't need any egg, get the pan nice and hot and just pop it into the hot pan. The corn flour will naturally give it a crispy coating on the outside, turn it over onto all of its sides, and then you can fish that out. Then once you fish that out, give your pan a quick wipe and then start the cooking process, and towards the end put the tofu back in. If you put the tofu in too early, the crispy coating that you've worked up with the corn flour will go soft. So you want to put it in right towards the end, okay? Okay, so my tofu is cut now into bite-size 1 centimetre by 2 centimetre slices. So there you go. And we can start cooking. So I just give my chopper a quick wipe off. And oh, you know what? Last thing, sorry guys, we need to do the chilli. So I'm not going to chop the chilli dead fine. These chilies have got a bloody kick. Like I say, I had a 20-minute lip sting earlier from eating just a little tiny bite of it. They do mellow a little bit as they cook, but I am just going to chop them into quite big pieces. And then when I'm eating with my chopsticks, if I see a big chunk, I can then just maybe put it to the side of my bowl as I'm eating. Saves me sort of like blowing my head off as I crunch down on a huge bit of chilli. Okay, so there's my chilli as well. If you do handle chilies, guys, make sure you wash your hands properly. I did have the mistake of wiping my eye earlier, and yeah, I was crying for a little while. So let's get the wok hot. Do I need to say it? So, no, I'm not going to say it. You can tell me. What don't you do now? So what's the one thing you're not supposed to do, especially if we're using a carbon steel wok? Don't add your oil until your wok's hot. Let it get smoking. We've got lots of hearts coming through. Oh, sweet. See, I've just rubbed my lip and I've got the chili burn already. These chilies are bloody hot. I might not put all of those in actually, because it might ruin the dish. So I'll be trying to eat my tofu and be sweating. My dad used to do that. He was terrible. He'd order, when he was a bit younger, can't do it these days now, he's an old man. He used to always order like really hot curries or have really hot dishes. But he'd sit there in his white vest, sometimes with a white string vest, sweating, as he's eating this meal. And it didn't look comfortable to, you know, to watch him eat it with him sweating away, and he wonders why he had an ulcer. So, oh well, I'm not doing that. I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons. This is enough for about 3 people. So that there's going to be plenty. There's a whole block of tofu. There's 2 onions, so there's loads going in. So I just want to make sure that I am frying. So 2.5 tablespoons of oil. If you're only cooking this for 2, obviously just cut down the quantities and only use a tablespoon of this stuff, all right? Okay, so I'm going to get my ginger in now, which we get a sizzle, and I'm going to add my onion, and I'm going to add my garlic in a second. Okay, now I want to try and get the aromats, fragrance in this oil before we do any more cooking. So that's the ginger in, and the onion, and I'll give it about a minute or so, and then I'll get my garlic in next. And before I put anything else in, I'll get the garlic in and just let that sweat away for about 20 seconds, and it'll be lovely. Of this. So remember when we talked about what cooking, or when you're doing any cooking at home really, is yes, we don't want to burn it, but no, we don't want it to be sort of like pale in colour. We want to try and build up that natural caramelisation. So everything that we cook, whether that be king prawns or chicken or onions or peppers or garlic, okay, it will all of it will have natural sugars. And the caramelisation is that natural sugars coming out and just reflavouring or enhancing the flavour, which again is going into the dish. It's really important that we generate or we create that caramelisation. And as you can see, but you see how I've got like a nice browning going on this onion already. So I've got those natural sugars building up. So at this point I can pop in my garlic, because it shouldn't burn now. And again, it only wants about 20 seconds or so. It just needs to feel that heat till it starts to sweat away and start releasing some of its flavour. Now normally you would probably add the chilli in about now. I'm a little bit worried about putting chilli in because I've got no ventilation. I'm going to crank this window wide open. So before I put my chilli in, I'll get my peppers in, so like my peppers a bit softer if I am going to eat them. And then I won't put all that chilli in. So I've left a couple of chillies out, but I've still got quite a lot of chilli going in, I think. And I'm going to stand back. I'm going to put these to one side. And again, I just want to try and get the peppers now just to caramelise a little bit. Now the tofu is pretty cooked, so, and as I'm not browning it, it doesn't need to go in for very long at all. I'll get it in after I've got the carrots in, and I'll probably get the black bean in first before I put my tofu in. Even though the tofu is quite firm, if I stir it around too much, it will naturally want to break up. Okay, so let's get my carrots in, followed by, so there is some liquid in here, so there's about 2.5–3 tablespoons of black beans, which are pre-soaked, washed off first, then pre-soaked, and the pre-soaking with just enough water just to cover. I'm going to add all of this, okay? So, in fact, you know what? I'm going to put my tofu in now. I just want to try and get a little bit of this caramelisation going on the tofu as well, just a little bit. So let's just move this around, just so the tofu is in contact with the bottom of the wok where that heat is, and we'll just try and get a little tiny bit of colour on there just before we add the black beans. Okay. While I'm doing that, I'm going to clean my chopping board. Remember, guys, it's always easier to work in a clean kitchen, especially when you're working in the catering industry. You can't have rubbish everywhere, because you put something down and next thing you know it's covered in leftover food from another dish you're working on. So, okay, lovely. So we've got some proper caramelisation going on there, even on the tofu as well. It's a nice red hot wok, that is. So in go my black beans. So that's with all the liquid as well. We'll give them a bit of a smush at the bottom. Okay, so if you've never cooked with black beans before, there's going to be that strange umami. It's not sweaty feet. Sweaty feet's wrong. Fish sauce is like sweaty feet. But there's a definite smell that you wouldn't necessarily get unless you're having black beans. Pungent. There you go. Pungent is the word. But yeah, it's fantastic. And that whole dish now has got that lovely pungent-y, black beany kind of like colour and taste going on there now. Now I'm going to add about half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of stock. It depends how saucy you like your dish. So okay, so what I've done now, I've controlled the heat. Also as well, I've had to dampen some of that chili smoke that's going on in here at the moment because it's making it virtually impossible to stay in here. Ideally, you need to make sure your extractor fans are on full whack. Okay, but this now gives me time to start building up these flavours. So I'm going to add about half a teaspoon of dark soy sauce. Now the dark soy sauce is going to give it that umami flavour, and the dark, because it's so dark, it's going to give it its distinct, sort of like a very dark brown sauce that you get with a black bean dish. So there's my dark soy sauce. I'm going to add about half a tablespoon of light soy sauce, maybe a touch more. And again, I'm not going to add any salt into the dish until towards the end. I'll give it a quick taste. Hopefully the soy sauce and the black beans will create enough salt in this dish for me. I do apologise as well, my nose is really running now. Sugar. So again, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of sugar. Sugar is just going to help. In fact, a teaspoon and a half of sugar, I reckon, is just going to help with a little bit with that heat and the saltiness, and just give it that rich, velvety feeling that you get on the tongue as well. The sugar helps with that. So again, it's all about textures and taste when you're cooking. Now, I've got the chilli in there, so I'm not going to need a lot of white pepper, if any. But I'm going to add a little tiny pinch. It's probably 1/8 of a teaspoon gone in. And I do apologise, my nose is running like mad now. So I can't believe how strong those chilies are actually. Such little things with such a kick. So let's just give that a second, just to catch up with itself, and I'll give it a quick taste and we can decide whether or not we're going to add any salt. Okay, so. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so no salt needed. If you like your dishes more salty, obviously you can put a bit more soy sauce in there or add a little bit of salt. I don't think it needs it. I'm now going to add my cornflour water slurry. So again, because this has been sitting for an hour or half an hour or so, it's kind of like settled, okay? So it just needs to be mixed so it kind of like incorporates into the water again, because the cornflour will naturally want to settle on the bottom. So just wipe my hands off. We'll just add a little splodge of cornflour water, and what this does, it instantly thickens up that sauce. Now when you add this, you've got to keep the dish moving, okay? So that's plenty. Off it goes. In goes a teaspoon of sesame oil, just to give it that background nutty note. The last couple of dishes I've dished up, because they've been so saucy, it's looked pretty pure on the plate. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my big ladle and I'm going to do this properly today. When I say properly, it'll look rubbish in a minute, I bet you. So. Again guys, plenty here for 3 people if it's just a dish you're eating. If you're eating this as part of a meal with other dishes, easily enough for 4 people, okay? So I'll add that to the plate. There's a little bit left in the wok. And there we have it. My tofu and black bean cooked in about 15 minutes on camera. Hope you've enjoyed. Don't forget to check out my website, gotlingwen.com, and click on Chinese Takeaway Cook-alongs, where there's going to be a whole series of every single video that we've done during lockdown with all the recipes and method. Hope you have a fantastic Wednesday, And I look forward to cooking for you again next Wednesday. Happy birthday again to Babe, my little brother. And yeah, hope you're having a great day. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.